Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome in. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome in. It's 12:59. Usually when I do these webinars, I try to give everybody a few grace minutes, no more than 3. So if you'll hang tight with us, we'll get started at 1:03 sharp. So I usually stick to that. Just try to be kind. It's easier to try to not manage as many people hopping in. So thanks so much for joining us. I'll repeat this a couple of times, but we are going to record this. So just be aware that the whole thing is being recorded, and we will share that back out afterwards for you all to be able to review. And again, we will get started here in just a couple of minutes. We'll go through some logistics. You all should be able to unmute or ask questions as you need to throughout the presentation for clarity. I know it's a webinar. Most webinars, everybody is muted and cameras are off, but I set it up to where you can interact with us because I got a feeling there's going to be quite a few questions today. So we're excited to be here, excited to share information with you. So thanks so much. 1:03 sharp, we will kick this thing off, and I'll do my best to ramble on in silence, jazz hands as we get everybody in here. So let's see. Since I think you all can hear me, who from Clearinghouse, is it going to be Patrick that's going to share with us? And if so, Patrick, can you attempt to unmute and turn your camera on to make sure we're good to go before we get into it? Or
Yes.
whoever's, yes, okay, you've
Hey, Dustin, how's it
unmuted.
going?
Hey, Patrick, are you able to turn your camera on?
It should be on now. Can you see me?
Well, hang on, I'm
He's
on
on,
a different,
he's
I
on
got you,
page
all right.
two.
Yeah, you were on page 2. It turned to you. You are live. Good. So we have troubleshot that. So I'm glad that just to double check that you're good. So, all right, awesome. Thanks so much for being here. And as I'm sure you're aware, I'll kick us off here in a minute and over to you, and you can do your thing, and then we'll go on from there.
And Dustin, are you able to provide me permission to share my screen? I do have a couple of slides I want to
Sure.
present.
The answer is yes. I have to get to you. All right, I changed your role to a presenter, which should allow you to be able to share. Do you want to try?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay. Can you see my screen?
We can. So that worked perfectly.
Awesome.
Yes. Awesome. All right. It is 1:03 as promised. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dustin Rawls with the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. I've got a couple of guests that'll be joining us for different things here or there. Some housekeeping notes before we get started. Today's webinar is being recorded so we can share that back out with everyone afterwards. And so please ask questions along the way. I will, as we're going to have some different presenters about specific areas. And so as they're presenting, I am going to manage the chat feature. And so if you have questions that you want to chat in, you're welcome to do that. And I'll be monitoring that and can interrupt our speakers to get questions answered in real time so they don't feel like they have to monitor the chat while they are presenting. And then I really think that's it. So make sure you get all of your questions answered before we hop out today. So thanks so much for joining us. As I mentioned, Dustin Rawls, Assistant Director of Statewide Services at Tennessee Higher Education Commission. We're here to talk about direct admissions. I can only assume some of you, some of your schools, some of your leadership were involved with direct admissions last year, but I can Also, probably assume some of you were not. So we're going to cover quite as much as everything as we lead into the statewide launch for year two. And our first guest that I want to introduce to you are our friends from National Student Clearinghouse. Our relationship, Tennessee Heck's relationship with Clearinghouse is quite substantiated. We've partnered up for some time, and they are our partner in handling transcripts and in a more fluid and functional way. And so I wanted to invite them to come in here and share with you all how their services, goods and services, you all can take advantage of that um, in the light of direct admissions and transcripts for your graduates after they leave. So, with no further ado, I want to give them some time first because we have a lot of things that we can discuss outside of transcripts and transcript exchange after they're done. So, Patrick, let me go ahead and cut it straight over to you to introduce yourself, some of your goods and services, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dustin. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is Patrick Castro, and I work with the National Student Clearinghouse. And this afternoon, I'd like to provide you a brief overview of the Tennessee Transcript Center, or also known as Transcript Center or TNTC, and how it can help simplify transcript fulfillment while creating a better experience for student and alumni. We'll talk about the challenges schools often face with transcript requests and how the Transcript Center works, the benefits for both not just schools, but for students, and what the next steps look like for schools that are interested in participating. During this call, I do encourage you to think about your school's current transcript process. And as we go through this presentation, I'm happy to answer any questions at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let me remove my taskbar here at the bottom for you. There we go. So the Tennessee Transcript Center is intended to help Tennessee schools simplify the way official transcripts are ordered, managed, and delivered. The main idea is simple: make the transcript process easier for students and alumni, while also reducing the amount of manual work required from school staff. In this overview is designed to focus on what the service does, why it is helpful, and how the workflow works, and what schools need to know if they're interested in getting started. So first, we'll talk about why transcript fulfillment can become difficult for schools, especially during busy times of the year. Then I'll explain what the Tennessee Transcript Center is. After that, I'll walk through how the service works. We'll also spend a few minutes on key benefits for both schools and students. And, to reference some of these benefits, there's no fees, allows for online ordering, tracking ID numbers, reporting, and shared staff access. And finally, I'll close with what schools need to know if they're interested in participating and what are the next steps. So before we explain the service, it's helpful to start with the problem this service is designed to solve. For many schools, transcript requests can come from several different directions. It can be from students, alumni, parents, colleges, or other organizations during peak times, such as college application season or graduation. And that can create a lot of manual work. Now, your school staff may be managing paper forms, emails, phone calls, and even one-off requests. On top of that, students are often wanting to know whether their transcripts have been sent or received. The Transcript Center helps by putting the process into a more organized and secure workflow. So the main goal is to help reduce the amount of chasing and follow-ups, give students more visibility, and help staff manage transcript fulfillment in a more efficient way. Now, what is the Transcript Center? It's an application used to exchange official high school transcripts. It gives Tennessee schools a secure way to manage transcript requests and send transcripts electronically where they're supported or even mailed if needed for completely free. Now, for students and alumni, this provides an online way to request transcripts, choose their destinations, and they get to receive a tracking ID number at the end of their order. And they can follow up on the status of their request. For the schools, the staff, this provides a centralized place to manage transcript activity, upload transcript data securely, reduce some of the manual follow-ups that often come with transcript requests. And a key message here is that it will help support both sides of the process. It helps students get their transcript where they need to go, and it's also helping the schools manage the work in a more structured way. Now, how the service works. So first, the student or alumni will place a transcript request online via our portal that they can access 24/7 at any time there. They can go on, place the order for the school or the district, and then from there, they provide the transcript data through a secure upload process. Now, the transcript center can also support Tennessee-related scholarship eligibility processes where applicable. Once the transcript is ready, the transcript can be delivered electronically. And like I mentioned before, if that's not supported, then we will mail that for free as well. The important point for schools is that this process becomes easier to manage because the requests, the upload, the delivery, the status of tracking are part of a more easier workflow. So instead of relying on separate emails, phone calls, or manual tracking, Transcript Center helps bring all these pieces together in one process. So there are a few different reasons and several benefits that a lot of schools like using Tennessee Transcript Exchange, and hopefully you'll find this helpful in the future, is that first, there's no subscription fees. For schools, there's no ordering fees for students, and that's a major benefit because it removes cost as a barrier. Second, student and alumni can place transcript requests online, which gives them more flexibility and makes the process more accessible. Third, the tracking ID helps. It helps students follow the status of their request so they can, reduce the number of calls and emails that your school staff may be receiving. And then it also provides reporting that can support counseling or even planning conversations. Great part about it, multiple staff accounts can help share the workload across the team. So it's not just on one individual, you can have many hands in the bucket here. And finally, it provides a more secure method for official transcripts. So the main things to summarize from this slide is that it saves your staff time, it gives your students a clear transcript experience. So getting started or what to know. If your school or district is interested in learning more or moving forward, the first steps are pretty simple, right? Your school, you'll want to identify the owner or the person who can help with transcript data. That's usually, it could be one person or it could be a team that understands how the student records are exported or managed. Then you want to make sure you identify the staff members who will fulfill or monitor transcript requests. And these people or individuals would need access or be involved in the day-to-day process. From there, we can help schedule a kickoff conversation to confirm setup details and answer more questions. But the biggest thing I would want you all to know is that you don't have to figure everything out on your own. Here at the Clearinghouse, our team can help walk you through the next steps and work with the school's timeline as well. And on my final slide here that I'll be sharing with you is just to close, the Tennessee Transcript Exchange is really about making transcript fulfillment simpler, more secure, and more transparent. So for the students, it provides a clearer way to request transcripts and track statuses. And for the schools, it provides a more organized process that can reduce manual work and help staff manage requests more efficiently. So I really do appreciate the opportunity to provide this overview today, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And if anyone's interested, you know, I also can coordinate a short follow-up for conversations or discussions. But I really appreciate your time, and hopefully this was helpful. But if you have any questions, we are here to answer them. Oh, I think you might be muted, Dustin.
I heard the beep. So thank you so much. And while a couple of questions come in, let me connect the dots right quick for all of you that are participating. So this is a direct admissions webinar. Make no mistake. We asked Clearinghouse or Transcript Exchange to come on at the beginning because um, we have learned in the last year in direct admissions a couple of pressure points regarding transcripts. And through some leadership meetings, we've reached out to create some mechanisms that are specific to you all and how to relieve that pressure point. And so, from the post secondary side, one thing is happening is we heard from college administrators that the inability last year to gather transcripts in an efficient way to continue the college onboarding process, the admissions process, was a barrier to direct admissions success last year. And so it was a barrier. And so that's been mitigated. We have worked with Transcript Exchange to now have a process in place to address that. And so what you all, for you all to know, is that going into the statewide launch for direct admissions for this next year, we have included a question on the or a disclaimer question on the direct admissions enrollment form that gives the students giving permission for Transcript Center and post-secondary partners to be able to send and receive transcripts for students in perpetuity. So when they sign and that disclaimer giving permission through the direct admissions form, the post-secondary partners and the secondary partners and transcript exchange center can initiate that exchanging of transcripts on behalf of the student forever at that point. And so we're excited to partner with them. And so what that means for you all, if you're not a current transcript exchange partner and want to learn more information, I do know that we have a day scheduled for a follow-up training, onboarding, more information. We don't have a time just yet, but I knew though that we've identified Friday, August the 7th as a day where we are going to have an additional follow-up specific to transcript center, transcript exchange, what that means for your schools, how you can get on board, everything else like that, because that's who we're partnering with to alleviate some of the pressure points regarding transcripts and the exchange of transcripts in relation to direct admissions and for your graduates. And so we wanted to invite them on up front to give you this information, and then we're going to excuse them because they don't need to know. I mean, they can need to know, but they don't have to hang around for the rest of the direct admissions presentation. And so, if any of you all during this or after this want a follow-up invitation to training with Transcript Center, my email address is just got dropped in chat. You're welcome to reach out to me directly. It's like, hey, we're not a partner. We want more information, or we're just interested. Let me know, and I will connect you with them for that August 7th training, because we'd love to be able to share more in detail about what that process looks like as we continue to partner with them moving forward. Um, so basically, the schools upload the transcript once to the transcript center, sends notice to the schools that request has been made. I'm going to give that one to you, Patrick. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, that is correct. So the student submits their transcript request through the Tennessee Transcript Exchange or Transcript Center, my apologies. Then the school receives a notification of the request, uploads the transcript, and then it securely delivers to the recipient.
they're going to have access to you, but I'm going to say thank you and Appreciate all of you being in here. I don't know who all's in here. I think Brendan, Samantha, Hope, a bunch of people from Transcript Centers in here. So thank you all so much. You're welcome to hang around should a question come through, but we're not gonna take make you stay here for with punishment. So let's pivot to Mark Petivioke, who is our my partner in crime and the direct admissions guy. So he's going to run you all through the history of direct admissions, what happened, a little bit of what happened in year one, where we're headed in year two, and so that way you're able to. And then while Mark is presenting, I'm going to be monitoring the chat because I can only assume we're going to receive quite a few questions for clarity. And so, Mark, are you able to unmute and take over?
I'm here.
Eh,
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
All right. Just a disclaimer before I start going into all things direct admissions. Thank you to Transcript Exchange for being here. We did have a bunch of meetings with the institutions. It is a pressure point in terms of getting the students across the finish line. But we do want to make sure you all know that if you have a transcript, like a system that works for you all, because I know in the East there's Parchment, and you all have a system that works. We're not forcing everybody to use Transcript Exchange through us. This is just a mechanism that we found that would be helpful, and we met with them, and we already had a contract with them, and it's something that we can get moving forward. That doesn't mean that you have to forfeit your process in your district or whatever contract or whatever you all are doing. We just wanted to offer a way for that pressure point to be relieved a little bit. But again, you don't have to use it, but it is there for you all. It's great. It's free. And so it's there if you need it. But again, we don't want to totally uproot your process in your district. But that being said, I'm Mark Petivioke. I've been working as the Direct Admissions Program Manager for the past year, and now we're moving to the statewide launch. So, why direct admissions? So our partners, Taylor Odell from University of Wisconsin, and Making Care in Common from Harvard School of Education, came to us with this idea of simplifying the application process for post-secondaries. And so if you think about it, most high school students, they apply to between 5 to 10 colleges, and that's 5 to 10 applications, 5 to 10 application fees. And how can we simplify that? And if you've sat down and have done a college application with a student or maybe a family member, it can be quite daunting. And then you multiply that by 5 to 10, it's a lot. And so they came to us with this idea about making this easier, making it simpler for our students. And so we just kind of ran with it. So last year, we sent out we sent out 45,046 total letters to 255 randomly selected high school students. And we had all different kinds of process for that. So some students were in our control group. They didn't get a letter. Some students, they got just a letter of the institutions they were in. And then group 3 got institutions, financial aid, and then group 4 got institutions, financial aid, and texting, and then group 5 got an advisor along with all the other things. Well, this year we're expanding it. We're sending these letters to all state aid eligible seniors in the class of 2027. That includes public, private, and homeschool students. So all the schools that weren't participants last year, they're now participants, and we're very excited for that expansion. On top of that, we've expanded from around 57 four-year institutions to over 60. We added, just to name a few, MTSU, Maryville, Johnson University, Southern Adventist, Moore-Tech, Welch. Did I say Maryville already? I think so. And Tribeca. So we added schools. No schools have dropped out. And this is very big for Tennessee because direct admissions, it's expanding all over the nation. We were the first ones to do financial aid, and I think we're still the only one that is doing financial aid. And so we are able to, on our side, because of THEC, we're able to offer, if a student is eligible currently for HOPE or GAMS, we give Tennessee Promise information, and all of the institutions but one have given us some sort of financial aid, merit-based financial aid to offer the students based off their academic records. So some things, again, that are new for this year. We did expand to all senior state aid eligible seniors in the class of 2027. So we think that's going to be around 70,000 students based off of how many students completed the Tennessee Promise last year. All students will be in that tier 3. So they'll all get institutions and merit-based aid that they're eligible for. We expanded the number of institutions, and this was a big one that we heard from the high schools, is that the counselors in the schools would like to know what institutions that the students were eligible for and the aid they were eligible for. So we are now double mailing. We're going to mail to the students, and we're going to mail to a bulk mail to the high schools. Here's the list of our full participating institutions. As you can see, this list is growing. We're very excited about it. Includes all TBR schools, so TCATs, community colleges, and then our 4-year partners. As you can tell, we're widely represented all across the state. This one always makes me laugh because some of the locations are so off because there's so many people or so many schools in like the Memphis area and Nashville area. But we're excited. A student anywhere across Tennessee has an option that's relatively close to them for post-secondary education. So this is how the process works. A student does their Tennessee Promise application, and that's how they get initially on our list. From there, we get a GPA supplied to us from the high school counselors, and some districts are doing bulk uploads for their district. Once we have that letter or the application from Tennessee Promise and the TELS HOPE GPA, 6-semester GPA from the counselor, their letter will be populated. That will be mailed to the student's house and then one to the school, and then they will be able to access their enrollment page. They can also access the enrollment page through their THEC student portal, and then they get a letter in the mail. They can scan the QR code on there, or again, go through the THEC student portal and claim their spot. They can claim their spot at 2 community colleges, 2 TCATs, and up to 5 4-year institutions. Those can't be shifted. So like 1, 1, 7, it's always 2, up to 2, up to 2, up to 5. They can select 1, 0, but no more than those numbers. So once they claim their spot, they answer a few more questions on the enrollment page. That data comes to us, and then we provide that to the institutions through FAST. Then the institutions will reach out with next steps. Some of those next steps could be a supplemental enrollment page that asks a few questions. Like, it's hard for us to ask questions that aren't universal all across the institutions. So like questions like intended major, where it may be different at each institution, or a faith-based statement if the school has some type of church affiliation. Those type things will be housed with the institutions, whereas we can ask questions like veteran status, citizenship status, and then first gen type questions. So there are a few questions on our enrollment page. And then, like Dustin said, the acknowledgments about medical records, and then transcript exchange. And that is not just transcript exchange. It's just by completing this, I'm giving my permission for my counselor to share my academic records with THEC and the institution. So again, that covers all of the above at your school if you already have a process. And after that, hopefully the student follows through with the process and they enroll in the school. So we get our information from 5 different places. The first one is the THEC student portal creation, which then leads into our Tennessee Promise application. Once they complete the Tennessee Promise application, that's how we know they're interested. We get the high school GPA from the high school counselor, and then ACT provides us with the highest composite score the student has. So our system was built for HOPE purposes. That's why we use the HOPE TELS GPA on a 4.0 scale. And that's why we're only using composite. We haven't been able to build it out to hold subscores or multiple scores or even super scores. So for now, we get the highest composite GPA for a student. If they've taken it before and they got an 18 and then they get a 21, it replaces with that 21, and then we lose the 18 score. We don't have subscores there. And so this is a big thing that we like to talk about here is like, because we don't get super scores and we don't have the weighted GPAs, some schools do have that for admission requirements or for merit-based aid. But for us to simplify the process for us and for the student, for you all, without getting all the different GPAs and ACTs and everything, and then getting through which institution does what, it's very base level for us. So it's the base level of what the student would be eligible for at that school. That's why we're asking for transcripts and ACTs to be sent, because some schools do the super scores and some do weighted GPAs. And so they will get, say, $5,000 from UTC. But once they send those scores, they may actually get above that. The only way they would get below that is if their GPA drops as their senior year goes on, because again, this is all contingent on them graduating from high school and maintaining what they have. But if they maintain what they have and they go to the school and they choose the school, then they at least hit that base level. So send the transcripts, send the ACTs. We're trying to push that. That's a big, big thing. So then the last place we get our information is that enrollment page. That's where the student selects and then answers the rest of those questions. That file is provided to the institutions and the institutions will follow up. We do get a lot of questions of, I haven't heard from institution. At that point in time, we always say, hey, reach out to the institution, to the admissions process, to the admissions office to see where you are in the process. Because again, this is marketing, this is advertising. We're giving them this opportunity and providing the place where they can choose a college, but the institutions still have to handle their end, and so do the students. This is our new updated timeline. So we wanted to get letters out earlier. That's another big thing that we heard from year one, is that the letters came too late. And so we got together and we opened up Tennessee Promise April 1st. As of right now, I checked just before we jumped on, we have about 15,000 applications through Tennessee Promise. So we need to get that number up, keep pushing Tennessee Promise. We opened up the secure GPA upload process for counselors. As of today, we had around 95 schools that have supplied it, and I've been meeting with some of the districts, some of the bigger districts that want to do mass upload, so we're working through that. But the big thing is once we have those two things, that's when we're going to start generating letters on August 17th. So August 17th is our first pool. So at that date, if we have a student's Tennessee Promise application and their GPA on file, their letter is going to get generated. And so it takes about 20 business days from that date for us to test on our side, make sure the file and everything is correct for the student, get their URL ready, and then get that to our printing to print and stuff, insert, send the letter. So we think the first letter should arrive the middle of September, which will coincide with College Awareness and Expiration Month. Dustin has some great plans about the weeks of that, and I think it's week 4, right, Dustin? That's our Claim Your Spot Tennessee. Again, the student doesn't have to wait till that, but that's going to be our marketing push. As soon as they get their letter or access to the URL through their THEC student portal, they can claim their spot. I know the institutions are itching to start getting names on their list and getting the students through the process. So then our second data pool is September 8th. That's the only Tuesday, and it's only because September 7th is Labor Day. Then October 5th, and then November 2nd. November 2nd, if a student doesn't have a GPA on file at that point in time, they will just get a letter based off the information that we have. So if they have an ACT on file, they might be eligible for some institutions. Based off of that, they will get their letter. Their letter will be generated off whatever information at that point in time we have. If they don't have a GPA or ACT, we will send them the TBR letter, which will have their closest TCAT and their closest community college. So with the addition of a lot of schools and a lot of aid, our letter got pretty packed with information. And so we're excited about that. But this is next year's letter. We add the scan here, so that will take them to their personalized URL where they can claim their spot. This would be as if a student had a 4.0 and a 36, they would basically get all the aid and all in HOPE and GAMS. A lot of information. We're very excited about it, but when your students see it, hopefully they don't think it's spam. This is a real thing. It's not too good to be true. This is what it will look like for them. Also with the letter is a letter from Governor Bill Lee, basically congratulating them on their amazing time in high school and the opportunities that are coming forward. So yeah, this is legit. This is not spam. So we're excited about it. This is just a close up of what the letter looks like, so you can kind of see what the institutions are offering. So we're pretty excited about that. And then the last thing is the enrollment page. So on the letter, what is on the letter will mirror on the enrollment page. So if a student is eligible for 5 schools and 2 aid, the enrollment page will have 5 schools and 2 aid. It won't show them every school that is participating, only the institutions that they are eligible for. Again, they will go on to this, select the schools. Each one of these red like schools are hyperlinked, so they can go and do research. It'll take them to the school's website. One big thing that we ran into last year was students that once they made their selections, they wanted to change their selections. That is still a thing in year 2. So if a student does claim their spot, once they submit it, it's done. They will need to go apply through the traditional application at that institution. But again, they can pick 2 community colleges, 2 TCATs, and 5 four-year institutions. I'm going to go back. These 2 under the technical and community colleges, the 2 schools that are listed there is the closest TCAT to their proximity to their high school. So we use zip code for that, and the closest community college to the proximity to their high school. So what's next? So again, really pushing students to do Tennessee Promise. Again, we're at about 15,000 applications at this point in time, collecting GPAs. So if you're counselors, or if you have a process for your districts that you would like to see, collecting GPAs is huge, because again, that's the second trigger to get us moving forward on generating the letter. Another new thing this year from last year is we have address verification. Last year, we did not have address verification. And so a student could put in 1, 2, 3, 4 as their address. And believe me, we did get that. And so we do have address verification, but we're pushing the counselors and the students to go in and check again right before letter generation to ensure that we're sending it to the right house address. We know that some of our students can move over the summer, so we're trying to make sure that the letter is getting mailed to the right place and not returned back to me, to my desk. And then email verification, making sure, because the email they have on their THAC student portal that is where we're going to send their confirmation email. That's where we're going to send all communication from us. That's where the institutions are going to reach out to them too. So making sure that that is correct. And this is a big one again. Early action target date, getting on it early, claiming their spot early and starting to work through the process. Unlike last year, we have institutions this year that have scholarship deadlines. So ensuring that their students are getting onto their portal, claiming their spot, and getting through the process as quickly as possible so they don't lose the chance at that aid. And then completing the enrollment form, getting transcripts sent, getting test scores sent to the institutions, working through that process. That will be huge for the institutions. That all being said, I know it went very fast there. We're very excited for the opportunities this program offers to students. And so I will leave it up to you all. And if you all have any questions, feel free to send them in the chat or unmute and ask away.
While people kind of gather their thoughts, let me thank you again. You do such a great job. I know you've done this hundreds of times, and so it's so much information. It's like trying to take a sip of water from a fire hydrant. So I'm so appreciative of trying to do that. So just to, go ahead.
Thank you for that. I forgot this one for two things. These are today we're here, but these are our next 3 webinars. They're specific towards counselors. They're open and ready to go. And so August 4th for public schools, August 5th for private schools, and then August 6th will be for our homeschool support, whether it be a counselor or, and then if you have any questions, here's mine and Dustin's email. And so feel free to reach out to us. If you think of a question after this, you can reach out to both of us.
Let's see, Ashley, yeah, the process for supporting counselors, the webinar on the 4th, and I'm happy to share it with you all. It's already been shared with them, but I'm happy to share that particular webinar with you all as well to distribute to anybody you feel free. That one's going to be at 3 p.m. because we know people are coming back to school and probably trying to have a webinar in the middle of the day with PD and with whatever else. So we chose 3 p.m. Knowing some people might choose to leave school at 3 p.m. too. So it was the lesser of kind of evils. And we landed on 3 p.m. for the Public School Council webinar on 8/4. And I'm happy to share that link back out with you all. And so, yes, we plan to share the same information with them, but more examples about, I'll kind of go back and slow down a little bit. College Application and Exploration Month is the month of September. And so direct admissions going statewide, it will fundamentally change the way we've always approached College Application and Exploration Month. And so we had a leadership meeting a few weeks ago to talk about what those changes are going to look like. We want to communicate those changes to your school counselors so they can know what we're recommending on how they approach College Application and Exploration Month, because it really all boils down to this simple concept. We want the month of September, especially, we want early action. We want all the data in by August 17th as much as possible. All the 6th semester GPAs uploaded, all the Tennessee Promise applications received, as many letters that can go out as possible. So that way, as many thousands of Tennessee graduates receive their direct admissions letter by the 2nd or 3rd week of September, because the 4th week of September is Claim Your Spot TN week. That is the week we want counselors, schools, graduates everywhere across the state to interact with their enrollment form, go online and accept their spots this week. Our friends on the post-secondary side don't want students to sit on their letters. They want them to receive their letters and interact with their letters. And so we're kind of gearing everything to this month of September, and that way it all builds towards this 4th week of September, where students will have hopefully a formalized corporate mechanism at their school where they will come together and interact with their form en masse, and the applications that will be received some point in time that week for the post-secondary institutions. So that's kind of the vision about how the timeline and everything works. And we will communicate that out to your counselors in more detail and some suggestions in that August 4th meeting that I will share back with you all and include you in that you're welcome to share out with those people as well. So as questions come in, I know I say this, some of my people probably get tired of the people we work with, not my people, but I say this regularly. It's an exciting time to be working on something that will forever change how Tennessee does college. We are smack in the middle of it. We're creating it. We're building it. We have some answers. We still have some others, and so it's a very exciting time. And so we really need feedback participation so we can improve this for our graduates for years to come, because what we're building now is shaping the way we're going to do it. And so it's a very exciting time, and it's nerve-wracking, but it's an exciting time to be involved in the process. So please,
I want to
yeah.
answer the process and then a portal to see progress for each students. So our goal is to get a fast file that would be like a Tennessee Promise report, where the counselor could go on and pull a report and see who has completed the form and where they selected. That is still in the works. We're working through that and how that will look. But hopefully we'll have that within fast for a report for the high school counselors to be able to pull.
Feel free, any of you, to unmute, turn your microphone on, turn your camera on, ask the questions, or chat it in. We're here. We're not going to keep you. I don't think there's anything else that I feel like we need to cover. You all kind of got the structure and the vision of where it's headed, and so we're welcome to give you any clarity should you want it now. But I'll include you all in the next round of or requests for the August 4 meeting, and you have access to both of us. And it's going to be a lot of the same. The only thing that we will probably do, the only thing we'll do different on the 8-4 meeting is we'll give more specific examples about what we want counselors to do during the month of September. Boots on the ground, kind of ideas of how to approach that month.
And this is kind of just top level overview of the program. I think we'll also talk about GPA upload, just to like how to do it, just kind of a bit of a tutorial around that. And so it will be a little bit more detailed in that kind of thing.
Going once, going twice.
Before we go, we're very excited about this program. But again, a lot of you all have done great work within your districts and getting your college going right and partnerships with your institutions. We don't want to take away from that. So if you have institutions that are coming to your schools and into your district and working with your students, we don't want to supplant that. We want that to stay there. We want you all to still have those relationships with the institutions in your area and who you already have partnership with. This is just another thing that helps our student, another opportunity to help our Tennessee students, your students, to see their dreams and to make college more accessible, and see opportunity that they may not have known prior to this. So again, we don't want to supplant anything that you all are already doing with your institutions in your area. This is just another great opportunity for your students. So.
I love it when we finish meetings or webinars early. I'm a big fan, so I'm not going to drag this out any further. Thank you all so much for your time. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for what you do to allow these students to succeed. I'm very, very grateful for everybody. You have access to me and Mark after this. I will share the 8-4 invitation out to this group so you can register and then share with anybody you'd like to attend if they're not on the other distribution group that I have created. And otherwise, reach out to us directly for anything else. So on behalf of everybody, Mark, you got anything?
Nope. And if you are interested in transcript exchange,
Yes.
reach out. There is a bit of a time that it takes to onboard and do all those things. So if it's something you want to have going for the start of direct admissions, now would be the time to start moving through that.
Yeah, well said. So awesome. Thanks everybody. I appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Is that today? I think. And reach out to us and look for the email invitation to the August 4 meeting. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.